Hello, I'm John Reynolds, founder of Blockchain Digital and Instant Property Network.
And I'm Mark Adams, Head of Partnerships at Blockchain Digital. Blockchain Digital, we're expert advisors to the All-Party Parliamentary Group on blockchain. We're delivery partners to HM Land Registry, working alongside them on their Digital Street project. And we're also entrepreneurs in residence, working alongside R3, the developers of the Corda blockchain platform.
So our journey began when we started working with Land Registry. And Land Registry had done a piece of research in the UK to look at the property buying and selling process. And what they found out is that people were very happy with the register itself. Nobody expects to get home and have somebody else in their living room. But people were universally unhappy with the end-to-end buying and selling process, which can take up to 3 months, and something like 30% of deals actually fall through. So what Land Registry decided to do was to catalyse an industry-wide conversation to bring together legal firms, banks and the broader industry to look at how new technology could make the buying and selling process simpler, smarter and cheaper. We were fortunate enough to be selected as Land Registry's delivery partner. So we've been working with Land Registry, building proof of concepts and working with industry. But a very interesting thing happened. After winning the project, we started getting calls from all corners of the world: Canada, Australia, Thailand, Japan, Singapore, with people interested in what we were doing for Land Registry and saying, hey, the problem you're solving for them, we have a similar problem. So working with our partners R3, we decided to build a distributed application that would run on the global Corda network. And that product is called Instant Property. So Instant Property tries to help make the end-to-end property buying process smarter, simpler and cheaper for all participants by creating what's called a digitally native marketplace. So what does that mean? Well, if we think about the current property marketplace, it doesn't really matter what jurisdiction. The marketplaces have grown up from paper-based foundations. And what that means is if you were to design it today, digitally native, you just wouldn't design how it is today. The marketplaces are about people sending each other emails and PDFs, and with all participants in the marketplace having their own databases that are not synchronized, and therefore you have whole mortgage teams, land registry teams, tax teams, legal teams spending hours and hours and hours trying to keep data synchronized. So we imagined a distributed system built on a digitally native marketplace and a blockchain, and we use R3 Corda. Our distributed application is now going into what we call a trial period. So we put out a global call to people explaining the application, explaining what it did for real estate agents, for mortgage lenders, for land registries. We had 200 companies from over 20 countries apply to join the trial. We have shrunk that down now to 40 global organisations who are participating in the trial, which kicks off on the 7th of March. And this includes banks, land registries, legal firms, insurance firms and tax offices. And they're looking at how they can join up their systems and make property buying and selling simpler, take out costs and operate in a digitally native marketplace. So we're really looking forward to sharing with you our application, and here's a brief demo. Welcome to the Instant Property Network application overview. We've modeled the application on a residential transaction, and here you can see the end-to-end property buying and selling process, which is based on the UK, but it's largely true throughout the world. You have a buyer, you have a seller, and in between them you have multiple businesses that they have to navigate through, interacting with them multiple times. Now the problem with this situation is that all these businesses share data, and the user shares data with them. They're kept in individual data stores, which means the data is often out of sync. So the solution we've come up with is a digitally native marketplace built on a distributed ledger application, where these organizations work together to create orchestrated experience, basically working on their shared customer, working in the interests of the shared customer to create these orchestrated experiences. Now with distributed ledger, there is no centralized platform, but yet you can get all the benefits
of one large central data place for the marketplace, whilst everybody can still retain their own data and interface with their customer. So let us take you through the application. We're going to log into the application using the admin console, and that allows us to see the whole end-to-end purpose of the application. So we start with the estate agent. The estate agent creates this smart property record. The smart property record is really the digital twin for the property. Now, in entering all the information, this information is not attested to. And what that means is that the estate agent could enter in any information they want about the property, but then it goes through a process as it's sent around the network where the information is validated and confirmed. So for instance, the digital record will go to a survey company. They can then go out, do a survey on the house and confirm the information that the owner has put in. But here we are at the moment now, so the estate agent is creating the property record and they're adding in the information that they currently have. And what we're going to do now for the trial purposes is we're adding in those circle of businesses that are going to work together on this specific transaction. So these firms will see the details of this transaction and just this transaction. So we create that. Now, one of the issues we've identified whilst we've done our research is that up to 30% of deals fall through. One of the reasons for that is because people don't have the right funding in place. So we imagine a marketplace where businesses can come together and customers can allow those businesses to share specific data on a pre-approved basis. So here we're going to enter the buyer for this property, Martha White. And Martha White is going to approve her bank to send validation, confirmation that she has an approval in principle that's good until the 31st of the 12th, 2019, over to the estate agent who she wants to make a formal offer on her behalf. So what we'll do is we'll switch back over now and look at the estate agent's node. And the estate agent can see now that Martha White has got approval in principle. So they're going to go ahead and make a formal offer on this property on behalf of Martha White. So we'll go through, put in the information, we'll put in the details of the potential buyer and the amount they want to offer, and we'll create that offer on the ledger. Now, at the end of this process, this is really the preparation and then the offer phase. We move into the next phase, which is the due diligence phase. And the due diligence phase is led by the legal firm. So on the network, we envisage two legal firms. We've got the buyer's conveyancer and the seller's conveyancer. And to kick off that process, what the estate agent does is they create a formal sales offer, and they send that sales offer along with the completion date over to the conveyancing firm. The conveyancing firm pick that up. And now the first thing they want to do in the due diligence process is they want to go to the land registry and they want to confirm that that property is owned by the person that they say or is saying they own the house. So what the land registry does is they will look up on the title the details of the current owner as per the smart property record, and they'll validate that person does actually own property, and then they'll bind the actual title information from the central register to that smart property record, and they'll issue onto the ledger a digital token that represents the actual physical asset. So now you have a smart property record, which is all the information about the property, and a digital token which confirms title. Now that goes now to the conveyancers, and they can go back and forth. So we'll just show you them now creating the contract, and then we'll just run through a summary of the other steps. And here we go, they're going to create a sales agreement. They pick the UK template, they put in the price, they put in the terms and conditions, they put in the dates, and underneath we've just got some sort of standard law society sales terms and conditions added in. But they'll create that and then they send it to the other counterparty, and you'll see that we can look on the counterparty's node and they now have that sales agreement. So we'll have a quick look at that, and then what we'll do is we'll just go back to the overall dashboard so we can look at the rest of the steps. And if you remember back to the original slides we looked at, that entire end-to-end journey that can take up to 3 months, we can shrink down. In Estonia, where they've moved from a paper-based effectively process to a digitally native process, they've brought this down to 8 days. So what we're doing here is we're just attesting to some of the information. We've got a survey and a search company, and what they're adding is the environmental details, any mining searches that have been done, any land charges. So they add all of this information, they bind it to the smart property record, and then they send it back to the conveyancing firm. So when we finish this now, what we're going to do is we're just going to have a look at the dashboard so we can see the end-to-end process that would happen. So after the conveyancing and the search process, we would then go to the banking process. And you can see here you've got a bank, and they would do a process. They'd issue a mortgage, and then you'd go through and you'd look at an insurance firm. And an insurance firm could issue insurance on the property. And then at the end of the whole process, the tax would be paid, would automatically be calculated as stamp duty, and this would all be settled out. So what we'll do is we'll just switch over to a settlement mode now, just look at that summary information so you can see at the end of the process what you'll get is you'll get this complete summary of a transaction that's happened. So on the left-hand side, you can see you've got a gas certificate, floor, title, local authority, all the information. But more interestingly, if you go down, you'll see here the transaction history that's happened. So all the way through, you can see that all these businesses have come together. They've been having a single source of the truth, and they've created this orchestrated experience for their shared customer, improving consumer value and making it more transparent for all businesses and government departments involved. Thank you.